In today's video, we're checking out this brand new generator from Genmax, which this is the only generator with a 120 and 240 volt option in its class. It's 5,500 starting watts and 5,000 running watts, ensures it has lots of power, and is also equipped with a carbon monoxide detector to detect hazardous levels of carbon monoxide. It also comes with a built-in telescoping handle, which this makes it really easy to move, and also this all-in-one selector switch for easy generator operation. When you open the box, you'll see that it comes with a fill funnel, also a small toolkit, and a manual as well. But let's check out the new motor that Genmax built, which its brand new motor is 312 cc's. I don't know of it being in any other generators yet, but it looks good and it looks like it's easy to maintain from what I can see so far. And it looks like the airbox, you don't need any tools to do any service or maintenance anyway. You just take off the little thumb screw and that'll open that up. And one thing I did see while I was looking around in the generators, there's a lot of foam in here, which basically this sound insulation will definitely help keep it quiet, so I'm kind of curious of what the sound test is going to be. As we take a look at the main display panel, it'll basically give you some information like how much load is on the generator, how much fuel you happen to have in the generator, and also an estimated amount of time left when you have a load on it. As we take a look at the plugs, these are actually 20 amp plugs that are basically a GFI circuit with a reset button, which is kind of nice. And it has dual plugs like this, so an upgrade from most generators. You have a big circuit breaker up here, and then you also have a couple little AC circuit breakers right there, which all of these do have weather protection caps and covers to keep all the dust and elements out. The 12240 plug is a L1430, and there's tons of adapters for these. And just above that, you'll see the carbon monoxide detector and an AC reset button next to that, along with your economy switch, which also has a weather protection cap, and also your dual USB ports to plug in some phones and other items, and that all-in-one selector switch, which you just move it to the choke, press the red button, and then move it to the on position, and you're good to go, and then you can go ahead and just turn it off. As we move to this side of the generator, you see you have your pull cord here and also one access panel. And behind here, this is where you're going to fill up the oil and also drain the oil to do your maintenance. So we'll pop this off, and you can see we have more sound insulation foam, which is great to help keep it quiet. You can see the oil drain hose is there, which I like that better than having it drain through like the bottom of the generator. And it looks like we also have the battery cables right here, so you can pretty much do all of your service right here on one side panel. We'll just tuck that back in, but you also have a battery access door up here up in the front. If we take that off, you can see it looks like more sound insulation and also a lithium ion battery, which is great because sealed lead acid is pretty much gone and dead. So we're going to go ahead and add the oil now and also some gas so we can get this ready to run. And you do want to check to see if there's any oil in it. That way, if you go and fill it up, you don't want to put all of the recommended oil in it because you will overfill it. It takes about 27 ounces roughly, so I cut it short to about 26. And we'll go ahead and put in the funnel that they've provided. I honestly don't really like these. I'd rather just use my own because sometimes these can leak, but they work fine for some people. But I'm just going to use my orange funnel. It matches the generator, so hey. Now, when filling up the generator, make sure you take your time and pour it in slow, and also do not put the full amount in because you may have some residual left over in it. So you may just want to stop a little bit short and then go ahead and take a look. That way you don't overfill it and make a huge mess. And as you take a look, now it's actually already full and I still have about an ounce or two left over. So we'll just go ahead and put our dipstick back in. We'll hook up the battery cables real quick, and then we can pretty much call this part done, and we'll go ahead and put the side access panel back on, and then we can go ahead and get it filled up with some gas to get it fired up. Now, this new generator does have a decent sized gas tank at 3.5 gallons, and that's just on 87. It does have a pre-filter or a strainer, which also has a fuel level gauge as well, which you don't want to overfill it over that. And when you are adding fuel, I always run some kind of a fuel conditioner of some sort or a stabilizer. That way, if you leave it sitting for a long time, it's always going to be ready and protected for you. Now, if you don't feel like reading and you want to just bypass a manual, you can just look at the quick startup guide. This gives you a step-by-step, and it basically tells you how to get the generator up and running quick. All right, so the moment we've been waiting for, we'll turn that to the choke position, let the fuel start kind of draining over to the carb for a couple seconds, and the eco switches off. So that's probably long enough. We can go ahead and try it out and see if it starts up. And there it goes. Looks like it's going to do it. Okay, great. So choke is off. And away it goes. So far so good. Looks like a small puff of smoke that came out of there, which that's perfectly normal on a new build. Little assembly smoke probably from, just when they assembled the engines, they put a little oil on there, but that's 120 volts and then 60 hertz right there. And then it should kind of rotate around. And it's 0. That's basically your runtime. If you had a load on it, it would give you an estimated amount of time. And then back to the 240 volt side. then probably goes back to the 120 volt side. And there you go. So, and a couple other lights, like you have your load indicator light that's going to be on the left, those green ones right there. So that'll go all the way up to 100%. And you have your fuel gauge on this side, digital fuel gauge basically. So for the most part, everything looking good and sounding good so far. The eco switch is off, so we'll go ahead and turn that on. Now you can hear it idle down. Sounds good. Definitely like it. Generator looks good. Great. So I don't know about you, but I'm excited. Let's see how loud this actually is. We'll do a sound check. All right, so I do all my sound checks here at about 23 feet away at the end of my driveway. If you've seen my other videos, I have several. I've tested a lot of different generators, and we're going to do the first sound check with the economy switch. Basically is going to be off, so this will kind of represent a small load. Okay, so we're 23 feet away. Take a look. And we're running right about 62 decibels, which that's good for a generator of this size. That's, you know, basically a lot of numbers that I see out of all the other generators out there, Champion and a bunch of other ones. So we'll go change it. Now we're going to turn on the economy switch and have it idle down. And this will represent basically a low load. And just so you know, if you happen to see other testing and it's done on grass, you're going to get different readings, by the way, because this absorbs noise and sound. So versus when you're doing it on concrete, this is about as loud as it's going to get. Now with the economy switch on, you can see from about 62 decibels, we're right about 60, 61, give or take. So that's not bad, again, you know, because this is a decent sized generator with a large engine. So we're also going to do a quarter load test or close. So now we're going to do a sound check with a low load, and basically the companies will do 23 feet at quarter load, so that would be 1250 watts on this generator. We're doing about 1500 almost with that heat gun. As you can see here, it does say quarter load, but if I actually had my watt meter on there, it would probably be closer to 15, but it would still give us a good idea about how loud it is at what they measure at and what we will. And so now roughly at about 23 feet and a quarter load, you can see we're at about 62.5 decibels. And so we're also going to mix it up a little bit. And so we'll add some gravel. We'll also add some grass and a bush or two just to kind of give you an idea about how much this will change it. But if you take a look, instead of 62.5, now we're about another 3.5 down, which that's actually double the sound pressure level, even though we won't be able to tell the difference unless it's about 7. That's kind of perceived sound anyway. But on my next video with this generator, I am going to be showing you guys how I break in my generators, because a lot of you guys have been asking, hey, how do you break in your generator? So I'm going to show you guys that in the next video coming up, and also doing a full load test on this generator. So I hope you liked the video. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. And until the next video, I hope to see you next time.